Welcome back, everybody, to the Success Partner Podcast. I am Daya Naef, your host. Today we have Alan Gonsenhauser as our guest. I'm delighted to have him here, and we talk about all things success in business. And Alan, I think, is very interesting. He is a CMO, and I can't wait for you all to get to know him better and get some lessons to take away from today's podcast. So, Alan, just go ahead and get started. Tell us about
Daya,
yourself.
very nice meeting you again. And glad to be here. The connection isn't the best because hopefully the video and audio will work during this. But no, happy to be here. And yes, I'm a chief marketing officer. What I do, I have my own business. It's demandrevenue.com, just how it sounds. What I do, I mentor, advise, and coach chief marketing officers and chief customer officers, help them with projects, and I'll also come on periodically as an interim chief marketing officer, primarily for portfolio companies of private equity firms. The mid to high market, $500 million to millions, primarily in software, health tech, medical and dental device type segments I work with.
It's awesome, Alan. I can easily say that you're the highest market person that has been on the show so far. So maybe we'll attract some more people with your reach. Tell me a little bit about Chief Customer Officer. I really like this term, and I want to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly.
Well, it's really important to be to really focus on creating a remarkable customer experience. It begins when someone's a prospect, you interact with them, and then when they become a customer, how you onboard them, how you provide value over time, how you listen to them to understand, those customers that love your value proposition and what you do, are promoters, and also those customers that have issues, what those issues are, and then how you respond to them to continuously improve customer experience over time. And the reason it's so important, Daya, if you look at financial results in the future, if you pass a certain point and you have customers, your future financial results are dependent on your ability to keep them or retain them. So retaining and growing customers, net revenue retention, but also getting advocates and fans to bring you new customers. If you add those two elements together, it's very really correlated to your future financial results. So it's really important to do that. And CEOs are ultimately responsible for the customer experience. They can delegate that to a chief marketing officer or a chief customer officer. There should be someone that's responsible on a cross-functional basis for supporting customers and creating a remarkable customer experience. And a lot of companies struggle with that.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and I totally agree. It's costs more to acquire a new customer than it is to keep a customer that you already have. And this was interesting on knowing that you work with such a large company. When people think of a large company, they think of I think of it's like them being sort of I don't know, black and white, and they have XYZ customer service, and it's either good or bad. There's really no gray. And then when you work with a small company, it's like, well, how quick does the owner or manager get on the phone when there's a complaint? So how do you scale that back and forth?
Companies grow. It gets more difficult to create and maintain an excellent customer experience. And the reason for that, alignment becomes difficult and more critical to success. Alignment, when I say that, I'm talking about alignment between functions like marketing, sales, product, customer success, finance. In order to create an excellent customer experience, you have to have an external view. And it needs to be cross-functional. It is easier in a startup, where, you get the founder on the phone, but generally I deal with larger companies where alignment is more of an issue, not only with the customer experience, but with intelligent growth. A lot of times internal politics and, inconsistencies and how you plan how you implement things, and people having different ideas about what the strategy is and, what you're going to focus on and what you're not going to focus on. If you're not aligned there, then that will mean that your growth challenged and your profitability is challenged.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the small firms I work with, the leaders are working very hard, but they're all rowing the boat in a different direction.
That's more common than it should be.
Absolutely. I'm like, do you guys ever talk to each other? Yeah. You also mentioned a net promoter score. Well, what is that for those of us who don't know what that is?
So Reicheld, who's been at Bain for 40 years, created Net Promoter Score 20 years ago. What that is a measurement and a metric based on the likelihood to recommend your company or aspects of your company to business associate or friends. It's a 0 to 10 scale. You can parse into 3 different categories. If folks give you a 9 and 10 or 9 and 10 likelihood to recommend your company to business associates and friends, we call them promoters. Those are people that are really jazzed on your brand. They love what you do, and they're very, they will tell others that, you're a great company to work with. That's where you want to be, obviously. So those are 9s and 10s. 6s and 7s are called passives. They're kind of on the fence. They may have some positives, some negatives. They're not quite certain, but those are folks that you want to try to move to promoters if you can. And 0s to 6s are called detractors. These are customers that are negative on your brand, and you want to understand why and what those causals are and things you can do to fix the problems that they have. And they're generally cross-functionally. Maybe they can't understand the invoice, or they can't get a hold of people, or their value proposition's unclear, or it could be a number of things, or your products don't work the way they expect them to. You want to understand what the causes are of, detractors and passives, and see what you can do about it, and then action cross-functionally and demonstrate to your customers that you listened and you did something. And that's the way to, in a nutshell, to continuously improve the customer experience. So it's a really important metric, and it's gone through some iterations. Now he's at NPS 3.0, and it gets better and better over time. But I think it's if you use it correctly, and 90% of businesses don't, only 10% do, according to Ed, there's a lot of upside. A lot of companies may pay lip service to being customer-centric, but really don't that up with concrete actions across company, which is really important to do.
Absolutely. It sounds like ignoring it or being blissfully ignorant of it is almost like not getting your wellness check and getting your blood tests, and you're like, oh yeah, my cholesterol's fine or something like that.
Focusing too much on the number and not focusing on how to improve the number, which is really the point of it.
Yeah, got it. Now, is this something that you offer through your demand revenue company?
Yeah, I've helped some companies through that process. In fact, soon, I think this week, there's going to be another case study, how I helped one of my clients, FinThrive, through that process. I've also helped some other clients, Precisely and Brightly, through that process. But in addition to marketing work, I also help with implementing NPS 3.0 properly. A lot of companies need. So that's another part of my business. Yes.
It's awesome. And you've had demand revenue now, you said 3 years?
3.5 years. Yep.
3.5 years.
Yep.
Congratulations.
I left. I was at Serious Decisions in Forrester, which is an market advisory firm, mentoring chief marketing officers and marketing leaders, actually almost 150 during 6 years. And that's part of what I do now. I mentor CMOs and advise them to be more successful in their marketing efforts, but also chief customer officers with NPS and customer experience type areas.
I love it. I can tell you're very passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
Outside of work, what are your passions there?
I have 2 daughters. Just got back from DC this weekend. My older daughter is in an a cappella group. She just did just had a couple of solos the weekend. So that's one. My other daughter, my younger daughter, and she's in the DC area. I'm in the Boston area. My younger daughter, also in the Boston area, and she's like you. She became a lawyer. She became a lawyer a year ago, and she's in her first year with her company. But yeah, she's enjoying that, and we see her a little bit more frequently. So that's part of it. I have some hobbies. I've been an amateur radio operator my whole life, most of my life. So I'm very into national geography, spoken to every country in the world, and so I've always enjoyed that as well. Varied interests, big into music, those types of things.
Love it. I love it. Yes, I also have a budding speaking. I don't say it's a speaking career. It's part of this career, and I get to speak in Spain in May. So that'd be
Right.
my first
I just got back
international
from
speaking
Germany
event.
and Estonia.
Love it.
Yeah, I just got back a couple of weeks ago. That's another story, but yeah. So I like traveling as well, and international geography has always been interesting.
Yeah, I love it. I took a little bit of that in college. I did international political economy in college, and that was a lot of fun. And gives us such a broad perspective
Yes.
on the world. Wonderful. Well, Alan, thank you so much for coming today and being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Definitely send me a link to the case study that's coming out. It'll be out before this is out, so I can put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Partner Podcast today. I am your host, Daya Naef, and stay tuned. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.